I'm Amanda Reed, and I'm gonna speak to you today about what no one, graphic authority, what no one will tell you about photography. Who wants to start off with some pictures and some music, just because music helps calm my nerves? I promise I won't dance. Like these pictures? 98% of those were shot on location. How many of you guys have a studio? How many of you guys would like to make $185,000 a year without a studio? That's me. Okay, guys, you might as well come in and sit down, because I know you've walked out of half of the classes that you went to, because I did. Anybody else do that? Anybody else walk out of a lot of classes? I did. I walked out of a lot of classes. So my name's Amanda Reed. I'm primarily a high school senior photographer. Last year we shot over 127 seniors. $185,000 were 2010 numbers. That would have been in my third year of business. I'm at 4.5 years right now, all self-taught. So how many of you guys are in business less than 5 years? Lots of you? Less than 10? Less than 10? How many of you guys shoot high school seniors? Okay, what do you guys shoot? Glamour shots, perfect. I mean, if you can make a 16-year-old girl look good because they all think they're ugly anyhow, then the same thing applies to glamour shots. That's just how women are. You know the business. So I'm from a small town in West Virginia, 1,500 people. So it's very small. And the median income where I live is about $22,000. So when I'm averaging $1,400 sales, 40% of my sales are $2,000 a client, we're doing pretty good. Lots of our clients drive from about 2.5 hours. We have senior clients drive all the way from Washington, D.C. They flew in from Kansas. They've taken me places. So it's working out pretty good. But what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today is what no one told me about photography. You know, when you go to a class or when you're first starting out, nobody wants to share the goods with you. They want to just like pass around the marshmallow Cool Whip. They give you all that fluff and you don't need it. You want to know how to make money. You want to know how to light better. You want to know how to shoot better, but they don't want to tell you that. So if I can get to full screen. Something that nobody told me was that I didn't have a clue. Probably a lot of you guys have fans and friends and they look at your images and they're probably saying, oh my, that's gorgeous. That's amazing. And she might have green skin, or she might be dark over here and she might have blown highlights on this side. Or you might have competition in your area and you look at their page every once in a while and you're like, look at all those comments, like 35 comments, and this is beautiful, and this should be a 30 by 40, and that thing wouldn't blow up to an 8 by 10 and being sharp. You know what I mean? You see that thing going around. And the main thing was that I bought into that. I bought into what my friends and what my family told me, which was kind of a good thing. But then when somebody said, you don't take this serious, you're a hack, you know, you could probably be a pretty good photographer. My friend Martha over here, she was one of my mentors. She's fabulous. I shot a baby one time, and the baby was cute. It was like on this little prop. You know how everybody shoots the babies, except I lit its butt and I didn't light its face. So thankfully, she said, you know, that picture would be pretty nice if you'd lit its face instead of its butt. So those are one of the things that I remember. I didn't have a clue. The other thing that I didn't know was that I needed a business plan. Without a business plan, I didn't know where I was going. How many of you guys live in California? Anybody? Okay, this is Danielle. See it on her name tag there. She lives in California, but she could not get to West Virginia where I live if she didn't have a plan, if she didn't have a GPS. She didn't have the means to get there. You cannot get to $250,000 sales. You cannot get to a studio. You cannot get to the premier photographer in your area if you don't have a business plan. How many of you are operating without a business plan? Just one? Everybody? 2, 3, 4? Come on, be honest. I just got one last year. How many of you guys are probably thinking, what goes into a business plan? My business plan is really simple. I know that I want to make $200,000 a year, so I just take my numbers. How many sessions am I going to have to shoot to give me those averages? How many weddings am I going to have to work into that? How many glamour clients am I going to have to work into that? Then I've got to allow for my expenses and overhead. And so those things go on there, but there's other things that go on there too. Because my life, I have 2 little kids. I have Lydia. She's going to be 10 next month. I have a little boy. He's going to be 5. So that eats into a lot of my time. So my business plan is very much a life plan. Guess what? I get off work every day at 5 o'clock. I work 4 days a week. I don't shoot in the sweet light. I schedule all my sessions from between 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock. 99% of those pictures were shot outside on location with a reflector. I don't use any off-camera flash because honestly, I like to go and I'm not dragging that crap around with me. In the studio, it's fine, but I'm not taking off-camera flash and paying somebody else there to come set it up for me, have to meet her. It just takes too much of my time because I like to shoot on the fly. I like to go. If you would like a copy of my business plan, then you can email me. Or stop up here and see me afterwards. I have that, and I will be happy to email you a copy of my business plan. I'm not one of those photographers that's going to say, oh, it's all hush-hush. I have my lawyers draw it up, and you can't see it. I don't care if you see it. I want you to be successful. If you're successful, then that means I can raise my prices, and we all want to raise our prices. You do not need a studio to make 6 figures. When I first went into business, I thought I needed styrofoam numbers. I thought I needed tie-dye backdrops. I thought I needed the coolest kid at school, and I thought I needed a studio, which at the time I thought, well, maybe I could just clear out this bedroom and put up a black backdrop, and I could use these styrofoam numbers, and I could be really dorky, and I could make a lot of money. That doesn't work. And so people were telling me that's what I needed to do, and thankfully I did not buy into that. I shot the way I wanted to shoot. I stayed real to what I wanted to do, and it worked for me. You don't have to have a studio. If you have an area in your home where you can meet clients, you can bring them in, do your sales. You can do Skype consultations. How many of you guys do Skype consultations? Anybody? Yeah. My clients have to drive about 2 hours to get to me. So having them coming in for a pre-sale consultation is crazy. So I Skype. And another thing that I do to get those numbers up, how many of you guys use Pinterest? Okay. So I hate it when a family comes in or a high school senior comes in and they're in like spaghetti strap, white dresses, and they got big thighs and they're going to look like a hoochie mama if I take their pictures. But they want their pictures in that. And then mom's going to come in later and say, oh, I don't like that. You know, look at this and look at the way she's dressed. And I'm going to say, you dressed her. You wanted her shot like that. You wanted the wind blowing in her hair. You wanted her bend over in a provocative pose. And now you don't want to pay me for it. So what I do is if my clients will make a Pinterest board and they'll make it and they'll pin outfit ideas to that, or they'll pin locations or their style that they like, ideas that their home are like, then I'll give them $100 off their paid order. I won't give them $100 unless they meet my minimum purchase. But if that gives me a good meeting point, because I see if they're casual, I see if they're going to be stuffy, and if they're going to be stuffy, I'm going to probably refer them to somebody else. That's not what I want to do. But that's a very good tool, and it works for glamour too. If you send your client to Pinterest, and I don't know, are you guys on Pinterest? A lot of it's not hit the male scene yet. It's kind of feminine. But get in there because you're shooting a feminine product, and they can search erotica, they can search boudoir. You can get in there. It's going to get your mind turning. And if you can see the outfits that they have picked out, you can see the style that they like, the editing, the locations, and say, I'll give you $100 print credit toward your order. That's going to really expand your sales because you're going to shoot for them. You're going to shoot for what they like. You're already going to be envisioning their products and their style in your head, and you're going to know how to shoot for that. The other thing is I'm not an all-inclusive photographer. It's not that I don't love weddings, but I have 2 little kids, so I don't want to spend every Saturday shooting weddings. This is my last year for weddings. I won't do them anymore. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to spend time with my family. I want to sleep in on a Saturday morning. I don't want to have to deal with mothers of the brides. No offense, but I would need a Xanax. This is David Scott over here. He's a fabulous photographer too, but his company is named Whitney because his wife's a little bit better than he is. A lot better. But you don't have to shoot everything. I think taking those people, it's a little bit intimidating saying, oh, I'm not going to shoot babies, or I'm not going to shoot families, or I'm not going to photograph weddings. But if you're not happy, that's going to show through in your work, and you're going to become discouraged. You're going to start slacking. You know, it's going to be, oh, this is good enough instead of this is my best. And I want to put out my best all the time. So if weddings are dragging me down and it's not allowing me to spend the time with my family and get everyone's needs met and my own needs, then I need to let that go. The other thing I see a lot of people complain about is competition. Because basically, what do you need to be a photographer now? Facebook and a camera. And if you're in Vegas, I got a few other things. You guys want to see what's in my bag? Yeah. This is why you need to be a photographer in Vegas, WPPI. Okay, get ready. You need boots. You need black heels. You need black booties. You need some leggings. You need a scarf. You need a hat. Because I know so many photographers that came out here this week, and I did it too. I fell into what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear to this party? What am I going to wear to this dinner? And you know what? I didn't look at that program guide till I got out here. I was more interested in what I was going to pair with these boots, what I was going to do with these leggings. And so we got 8 into that. Me and my girlfriend were talking about, she's like, I did the same thing. I didn't even know what class was on Monday, but I knew what shoes I was going to be wearing. Now, I didn't wear that today because I was kind of over it, and I thought, no boots today, my feet are sore. And in the case I do a bad job for Black River Imaging, everybody comes out here blinged out. So I just did this. If they decide to drop my sponsorship, I'm going to go with Bedazzler, and I can hook you up with some nice T-shirts. But the thing about not having any competition is you don't have competition. When I wake up in the morning, I know that I have to shoot better than I did the day before. I know I have to bring a better personality than the day before. Even if I had some crazy, whiny 17-year-old girl in there, she didn't want me to do this. She didn't want to do this with her hair. She didn't want to let it down. She wanted everything in spaghetti straps. Things don't photograph for everybody. And I have to be the better photographer than I was yesterday. I don't have to worry about the girl giving away a disc for $25 because are those my clients? I don't want those clients. I want clients that want to come in there and spend $1,400, no questions asked, and I can upsell to $2,000 in 15 minutes. They can go home, excuse me, and I can go home. Like I said earlier, I told you I didn't have a studio. That all changed this year. We built a brand new 1,500 square foot studio that we've been in for 2 months. Like I said, I'm in business for less than 5 years, shooting 130 high school seniors, 60 other sessions on top of that, 20 weddings last year, but we're knocking all of that down because I want to raise my prices, shoot a minimum number of portrait sessions. That way I can spend more time with my family and do more things with them, take them on cool vacations. That's what we like to do. It's not always fun. This is my husband over here. And if you have a spouse that's not in photography, sometimes they don't get it because it's feast or famine. So in like September, October, when you're bringing in $15,000, $25,000 a month, they're like, woohoo! In January, they're like, get a real job. Especially you men, because I hear that all the time. My wife's like, get a real job. It's January. We got to pay the heating bills, and I need some new leg warmers. Going to Vegas next month, I need leggings. But that's how it goes. That's how people want to see it. And I know when I come home, I've been around clients for 8 hours all day long. I've been smiling. I've been happy. I've been telling them that they're beautiful. I've been telling them that their skin's glowing when it's really not. I'd like to send them to Proactive, but I can't. Got to be nice. So I walk in the door to my house, and my husband's like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, that's it. And he'll be like, what's wrong? And I'll be like, just leave me alone for a minute. He'll be like, what happened? Did it go bad? I'll be like, no, it went great. But I've been happy around people that I don't want to be happy around. Give me 45 minutes, give me 60 minutes, because it's not always fun. And people get into photography and they think it's fun. So if you're worried about competition, give them about 6 months of working for 15 cents on the hour. They're going to go nowhere because it's not always fun. It's a tough job. You need a network. Okay, when we think about networks, we usually think about social media. We think about little camera clubs. When I think about networks, I think about people. I think about vendors. When I come here, I like to go to the classes, but yet I walk out of half of them because it's not what I want to hear. It's not what I want to learn. So where do I go? I go to the trade show. And who do I network with? I network with Graphic Authority, who's going to give somebody a $50 vintage set because they love me and I love them. Graphic Authority is going to give $25 coupons off of any of their products. Grip Daisy's giving $10 off of their products down here. Black River Imaging's giving $100 gift cards away. I'm giving a senior synergy book away. Those are the networks I want to make. So you need to be going. If you use Animoto and my slideshow was made, then go over there and give them your business card and say, hey, I use this. Could I submit some videos? If you use Black River Imaging, go over and talk to Sarah. She does this beautiful design work and say, hey, just take a look at my images. I use your lab. I would love to get in some of your advertisements. That's how you network. If you're shooting for a wedding magazine at home or you're shooting for a news publication, send in your images. I don't care if you have to work for free the first couple of times to do it. Once you get your images in there and your clients see that you're in rangefinder, or they see that you have an advertisement here, they see that you have a 40 by 60 medal of them hanging up on the other side like one of my high school seniors do, and I take that and I put it on Facebook, they feel like $1 million. They're in Vegas, but they're not really in Vegas. Those are things that you need to be networking with. Schedule a break. You have to schedule a break. Like I mentioned, I work 4 days a week. How many of you guys are working 7 days a week? When was the last time you had a Saturday off? Long time? Sunday off? You guys are working Sundays? I've not worked a Sunday in 2 years. I've not worked a Saturday unless it was a wedding. And the last Saturday that I shot a high school senior for, because I hate working Saturdays, I decided I would double my session fees. So she wanted a 3-hour session, so that was $300. Somebody's going to pay me $300 anyway to shoot 3 hours. But it's a Saturday, so I'm doubling it to $600. But she wanted to add in 2 more changes of clothes and a dog and a car, and I'm going to charge for that too because I really hate leaving my kids on Saturday. So she paid $900 just for her session fee on a Saturday. If you don't think people will pay it, if you make yourself in that commodity market where people think that you're a little bit unreachable, or they can say to their friend, oh, I got Amanda Reed for a Saturday, they will pay you $900 for a Saturday. I'm living in a little small town. You can ask Sarah Burns back here of Sarah B Photography. She's a wedding photographer. I photographed her wedding. I liked her, though, and she had a great mom. The other moms were bad. She's in a little area, too, but she's exploding with her wedding photography, and people are going to pay her premium. They're not going to say, oh, I want 8 hours of coverage with a $1,200 disc, and she's going to say, I'm not doing it. So that's what you have to do. I know it's a little bit scary to get your prices to that point or to tell somebody that you're not working on a Saturday, but if you're working every Saturday and Sunday and 5 days a week, you're going to burn out. It's not worth it. I mean, I'd rather be working at McDonald's flipping burgers. I come home, I leave that job there because when I come home, I bring photography with me and my whole family pays for it if I've had a bad day. You're going to cry and you're going to blame your husband. Something's going to go wrong. And you're going to blame your husband or you're going to blame your wife because there's nobody else to blame at the end of the day. And my husband hears it a lot. We had a girl come in and we had a client and we failed to tell them that we charge sales tax. So basically, I got a cussing in my house because at this point I was still meeting clients for their sales in my house. So she really dropped the F-bomb. And you know, my assistant who does my sales orders, she was crying, bawling and crying because we didn't tell this woman that we charge sales tax. Well, the last time I went to Walmart or last time I got food, they didn't tell me that I wasn't paying sales tax and I still had to pay it. So I cried. My assistant cried. She went home, blamed her husband because they were late and he could have got the kids up for school. And I blamed my husband because he forgot to take the trash out and he didn't unload the dishwasher and that would have made my day go a whole lot easier. But those are things that are going to happen. And you have to understand that you can't go home and blame everybody all the time. It's really going to ruin your relationships. Especially wives. Is anybody else in this boat? Sometimes you just feel completely disconnected. Anybody? Girlfriends? Yes? Oh, not with your husband back there. There's no way. You're going to miss things. How many of you guys went to imaging? Anybody go to imaging? I went to imaging. It was my daughter's. I was going to leave on Friday. My daughter had her first basketball game on Saturday. And I'm a basketball fanatic. Like, we got the Nike ID shoes with her name and her number embroidered on the back. That's why you need to start charging more for your sessions so your kids can get those kind of things because mine are spoiled and yours want to be spoiled too. Just wait. They're going to say, oh, I want this for my kid or so-and-so has this, and that's why I like to work, so I can make that kind of money. So I had to change my appointment. I missed that. The most important thing that I missed was every Thanksgiving, I had a distant relative that would come in from out of state, and she would want me to photograph her family on Thanksgiving. And I always agreed. And you know what? This last Thanksgiving was the first Thanksgiving without my grandmother. And the past 4 previous before that, I was photographing her family. You don't know when you decide to miss something for a client that's going to be the last time you see them. That's going to be the last time you hear their voice. I'm never going to get to make all the things and do all the preparations I did with my grandmother before because I put photography at the top of my list. I put people pleasing at the top of my list. I want to make money. I want to be a good photographer, but it comes down to number one, I want to be a good person. If you're not a good person, you're not honing those relationships and taking care of your family at home, you might as well get out of the business because you're going to end up with maybe a full bank account, but then you're going to wind up a lonely person. You are not a dermatologist or a fitness plan. How many of you guys say, oh, can you retouch this? Can you make this a little bit tighter, a little bit slimmer? I'm going to say no, but the YMCA can. You could get a membership down there unless you want to pay me $60 an hour for some retouching. And they don't want to do that. And people will expect you to do these crazy, ridiculous things. And if you do that one time, then they're going to come back with the next picture and you're going to say, will you do this? Yeah, and you're going to say, yeah, for $60 an hour, I'll retouch that for you. Sorry about that second baby in your hips. Pam, right here, she had a wedding. And it was a beautiful wedding. She shared it with me. And she said, you know, the bride called. What am I going to do? And she's upset. She wants to talk to me, but she won't do it over the phone. She wants to meet with me in person. And she's like, oh, my gosh, man, I'm flipping out. What am I going to do? And the images look perfect. Do you know what she wanted? She wanted her mom, and all the bridesmaids liquefied. She said, what do I tell her? I said, tell her to join Valley Fitness. You're not doing that. You're a photographer. She knew she was getting married for 18 months. She could spend this much on a dress. She could spend this much on that. And now she wants to tell you that you're going to retouch her for free? You cannot retouch for free. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of effort. That's something that you can charge a premium for that people aren't doing because we don't want to make anybody upset. So we just say, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it. And one image turns into 60 images, or in Pam's case, turns into 600 images. You will never be the best photographer. I think a lot of people get caught up in this, and it also goes along with number 15. I don't have to be the best photographer. I don't have to win awards out here. I don't have to have the cover of Rangefinder. You have to determine your level of success. If you're always comparing yourself to someone else, you're never going to get there. What determines if I'm successful is if I'm happy at home, if my kids are happy, if I'm putting in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. I know so many people say, I want to shoot like Natalie, because Natalie does beautiful, fine art portraiture. But we're completely different, and we're in completely different markets. And I can't be Natalie. I can be Amanda Reed, and I can do it the best way I know how, but I can't be anybody else. So if you're coming in here and you go home and you follow my blog every day and you check out what I'm doing, then I'm going to be so ticked off at you because I'm wasting your time. How many of you guys read blogs? Anybody read blogs anymore? You know, there's people that blog their coffee, blog their dogs, blog their shoes. They blog everything. I used to be one of those people, and I would read it, and you know what they were doing? They were wasting my time while they were out shooting and becoming better photographers. So you know what you need to do? Stop reading blogs. Stop comparing yourself because you're wasting your time. Go out and shoot your coffee. Go out and shoot your dog. Go out and shoot your wife. Some grass growing, a potted plant, because your competition's going to get on there, and they're going to read for about 2 hours every day, and you're going to waste their time, and they're never going to get any better. That's what I like. I like wasting their time. So when I get back home, I'm going to blog about Vegas, and this is what I ate, and this is who I met. And they're going to say, oh, my gosh, Amanda went to Vegas. Can't believe she's out there again. And I'm going to say, yeah, while I was out there, you were out here, and you were reading my blog. You were reading what I was doing. You was hating me, but you just couldn't put that X button. And you could have been out there photographing and making some money. They're not going to do it. You need to spend money. You need to spend money in this trade show on equipment, on templates, on lighting, on things that will make you better. I remember when I first started out, I didn't want to spend money on anything. And I thought $25 was a premium to bring me in. That would like buy my kids lunch for a week. $25, 2 kids, that would be perfect. You know, you've got to spend some money. You have to invest. You have to get a legal copy of Adobe Photoshop. My goodness. I mean, how many, we had somebody have a group, and they were like, you know, Picnic is going out in April. They emailed one of my photographer friends, Picnic's going out in April. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to give my clients? Because that's closing and this is what they're used to. Could you give me a copy of your Adobe Photoshop? You don't want to hear what my reply was because it was kind of X-rated. But no, I don't leave my family for 8 hours a day to buy you a copy of Adobe Photoshop. So get legal in your equipment, upgrade your equipment, buy good lenses, buy good places, good bags, good things to keep them in, buy props. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep getting new equipment. I know, like, every time you go out on a session, don't get comfortable in that one lens. Pick up another lens and start shooting with it. If you get comfortable in one thing, all your other competition is going to be learning those lenses, and they're going to shoot different angles, and they're going to have better depths of field, and they're going to know how to use it. And you're going to be struggling to say, oh, what should I shoot this portrait with? Oh, well, my 85's on my camera, so I'm just going to leave it on there. When it could have been so much nicer with a 70 to 200 and a compressed background, it would have been beautiful. But you're too lazy to take the 85 millimeter lens off. I've been there. Just the 85 will get it. Let's leave it. Leave the bag. Leave it in the car. People will hate you for what you have and what you don't have. I get this logic from my daughter. She goes to school, and she'll come home and she'll say, Mom, people are only my friends because you're my mom. And then she'll come back and she'll say, Mom, people hate me because you're my mom. And I'll be like, you know what? People hate me sometimes because I'm me too. And they like me sometimes because I'm me. People will hate me because I come out here and I speak. People will hate me because I took this picture or I know this person. Don't get caught up in what other people think about you. If you're always striving to be the best you, then you're successful. And quite frankly, I like it when people badmouth me, because if they're talking bad about me, they're talking about me. Bad publicity is always good publicity. It worked for Britney Spears. You know, she's still out there living it up. It did. There's just so much little petty stuff in photography, and people want to worry about it. And I really don't, that stuff doesn't bother me. I want to see you grow as photographers, because if they stay here and I'm here, then they're always going to be competing with me on price. And I want them to compete with me on work, because if they get better, I can teach them how to get better. They raise their prices, I raise my prices, we're all happier. Don't worry so much about your competition. You want them to get better because they're going to push you to get better. And then magazine covers, awards, workshops, Facebook fans do not equal success. I have a very big Facebook following. Like I said, my hometown is 1,500 people, but my fan base on Facebook in a little over a year and a half is 7,600 people. And so I had a photographer email me the other day, and she's like, how did you grow your fan base so big? And I was like, I networked, I reached out, I do some tagging. She said, well, I've got to grow mine. I've got to get my fan page numbers up there. And I was like, really? She said, yeah, I think I'll book more clients. And I said, no. I said, Facebook fans are for other photographers. My clients don't go over there and say, oh my gosh, she's got 7,500 fans. She's fabulous. No, other photographers go over there and say, she's got 7,500 fans. What am I going to do? I'm like, really? That's not going to book you any more clients. I could care less what those numbers were. They could be 100 as long as I'm booking sessions. Those are something that other photographers will look at. So don't ever look at it and say, oh, this photographer has this magazine cover. This photographer is having this workshop in the Bahamas or Hawaii. Don't worry about that. That's not for everybody. You might not ever shoot a $40,000 wedding if it's not in the market where you live. You can't base your success off what somebody on the West Coast is doing. If you live in a little mountain town of 1,500 people, they're not going to pay me that kind of money. So always consider your success and decide where you need to be. You don't have to be Amanda Reed. You don't have to be Natalie Lucini. You don't have to be Dawn Shields. You have to be the best photographer that you can be. What I do have is I have what I call the Kick Arse Guide to Senior Synergy. These are usually $149. You can buy them today for $50. This is how I book all of my high school senior clients. This is how I book family sessions. It applies to everything. I do a charity giveaway in December. It has all of that detailed out in it. I shot 60 sessions. We made over $6,000 in 2 weekends, and clients brought in a toy for a free session fee, and that toy got donated to charity. So I would do that even if it didn't look good on me, because that's just the kind of person I am. But those things will establish you in your community as a person that gives back, and that's ultimately what you want to do. Also, we have some other things to give away, but first I want to get to any questions if anyone has questions. Natalie, I see you.
Yeah, no, I guess I was wondering for photographers that are under 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
how do you really build such a base and become so well known people drive 2 hours for you? How did that happen?
I think there was a need in my market for something different. A lot of the photographers were still shooting the styrofoam numbers. Now they're not, since I've kind of broken out of that box and done something else. So there was a need in my market. But number one, people come to me because we have fun and they like me. Some people, that's the number one thing. If you come to my session first and we have fun, then they're going to tell their friends, oh my gosh, Amanda Reed was awesome. I've had high school senior clients come in, and I'll say, are you nervous? And they'll say, not to get my pictures made, but I'm nervous to meet you. And I'll be like, really? I still burp and pick my nose too. I'm fine. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you're so real. And I'm like, yeah, until I get plastic surgery, and then it's going to be like 98% real, but we're still working on that. But they think that I'm just going to be snotty and in their face, and that's not how I am. And when they come and they see that I'm a real person, I'm down to earth, I want to be friendly with them, but I don't want to be chummy and hang out with them on a Friday night, then they're going to go and they're going to tell their friend. They're going to say, not only did I get great pictures, but I had a great time. I don't know, when I started 4 years ago, I still have high school senior clients that email me once a week, and they keep me updated on what's going on in their life. And that's because I've nurtured that relationship with them. If they have a birthday, then I put that on my page. If they did something important, then I do that too. I want to hone those relationships. Senior rep program. How many of you guys do senior rep program? Anybody? Okay, here's what I think about senior rep programs. They're old news, they're popularity contests, and there's enough drama in high school, and I'm not going to contribute to that. So anybody can come to my studio and be a senior rep, because I'm not going to say, I saw on Facebook the other day, somebody was like, oh, send in your headshot, and then we'll consider you for our senior rep. I'm like, really? Like, she's not going to school every day and feeling fat and ugly enough by this little group of girls over here, and those group of girls are feeling the same way from another group of girls over here. I'm not going to condone that, and I'm not going to build that up in the high school senior market, because that's what's happening. So anybody can come to our studio and be a senior rep. All they have to do is ask. I don't do a card that's personalized, just because I can do 150 of those a year. So what I'll do is I'll just make a business card. It's got my name on it. It's got their name on it. And all they have to do is give that to a friend. And if the friend brings it back, the friend gets $25 off of their session, and that high school senior client gets $25 cash. They only get 2 cards, because I could do this potentially for 300 clients if all 150 give to someone else. But that's the way around. I don't care to give away $50 for one session when I know that my average is $1,400 a senior anyhow.
Do you do in-person or online
Okay, the way I do my online or in-person sales presentations is I like to have someone in-house doing those sales. I always, anytime, let's say my last 6 sessions have come in-house to order and they've all 6 been $2,000, they've spent that much with me. Online is, they have minimums, but if they come in, I like to do that. I can put products in their hand, they can see it, they can see the different sizes in the wall portraits. I will do online viewing, but this is the way I do it. I have a minimum. If I shot a 1-hour session for you, you have to pay that $100 the day that I book your session. The day that you want to see your proofs online, you have to pay a $600 minimum. That's your order. It's non-refundable. If you're going to want to view that online, you're paying me the $600, and they have 3 days to make their order. And if they don't make their order in those 3 days, guess what? I'm keeping their $600, and they have to drive 2 more hours up to my house and look at their images and make their order then. Don't ever put anything online unless you're getting your money up front, because they can screen capture, they can do whatever they want. But if I have my $600, I could care less if they want to take these little bitty things and put them on their Facebook. It doesn't bother me. Any other questions? Yes? In my studio, I have an LCD. It's a little bigger than this one, and I do all of my images there. Then that's how we do it. That's how we do it out in the studio. They sit down on the couch, they come in, they see all of their images in a slideshow. And what I do, how many of you guys use Spotify? Have you heard of Spotify? I do Spotify. It's like online streaming of music. I pay $10 a month for it, and I can write it off on my taxes. So when mom comes in or dad comes in, then I pick the sappiest, saddest song about their kids growing up that I can find, and I play that in the background, and I let their images slide through, and mom's crying at that point because she's already emotionally connected, so she's going to spend more money. She's going to say, oh my gosh, I remember when she was this little, and now she's grown up, and she's leaving, and I can't decide what picture I want. So I'll take the $2,000 package, and I'll say, yes, ma'am. And so I get a lot of photographers. I remember I had a $4,800 senior sale just on products. They bought $4,800 worth of stuff. And so I was sitting there, and they kept ordering. And they walked out the door. I called my husband, and I was like, guess what? And he's like, what? I was like, they spent $4,800 on senior pictures. He was like, what did you do? I said, I sat there and acted like it happened all the time. When you get that big order come in, don't get excited. People spend that kind of money with me all the time. And after they left, I did the happy dance. Happy dance. $4,800 for some senior pictures. I think my cost was $700. $700. Any other questions? I know you got some. This is where you learn, when you ask people questions. Okay. We shared an Escalade together last night to Caesars. Yeah.
If you're just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you find the seniors without?
Okay, if you're just starting out and you want to break into that senior market, here's what you do. You don't go get the prettiest girl or the most popular girl at school. You go get the average-looking girl. You go get her. You shoot her session for free. You call her your senior muse. You give her a disc of images. You make this girl look like she just walked off the cover of Vogue, because all those pretty girls are going to say, oh, my God, what did she do? And they're going to say, I went to Amanda Reed to get my pictures. And she's going to say, Mom, that's where I'm going. I have a high school senior muse every year, and this is when I like to get out of the box and do what I want to do. We did one just a couple weeks ago. They're more like fine art images. Actually picked up a $15 dress at a thrift store. We picked up the sheer fabric. She's up on a green velvet chair on the top of a mountain, and she's just kind of spinning around. I shot her. Her sister was my first senior muse, and Autumn was always up for anything. And I said, this is what you got to do. You have to shoot whatever I want to shoot, and I'll give you those pictures. And she said, okay. So it was March, and it was cold in West Virginia. It's still just about 38 degrees. And I said, okay, let's go get in the water. She's like, what? I said, you said you'd do anything I wanted to do. She's like, that's right, I will. We went, we put her in the water. She just got her hair just a little bit wet. We didn't do anything kind of provocative or anything like that. And I put her pictures on Facebook that night. That night, I booked 5 more senior sessions for the water. One of them was a guy, and his specific request was, make me look hotter than Autumn. That's what he wanted. We booked 5 sessions that night. I can guarantee you, for every session I put on Facebook and I sneak peek, I booked 3 more sessions the same day. That's how we book all of our sessions. We're not slow right now. We shot 8 sessions last week. Any more questions? Oh, I'm just going to share this with you. How many of you guys have the new timeline for Facebook? Okay, well, I have it, and your business pages are going to be going to that too, but here's the great thing. I used to do sneak peeks. I would upload 3 to 4 images of every session, and I would put my logo on it. But now what I have these fabulous timeline cover templates, because everybody's just throwing a snapshot up there and it's really distorting it and they don't know how to make it. And I know how to make those. So now I take 3 images and I put it into a cover template, and Graphic Authority is talking about doing some of these templates. So I would suggest that you go over there and you talk to Landon. They're fabulous. You're going to just drop those in, you're going to tag them, and they're going to put that on their cover page. Now what you need to do is say, come visit me at whatever your website is. Mine's like, come visit me at www.amanda-reed.com, whatever. And I put my logo on it and I talk about it a little bit. I'll just say something even a little bit special about them, or something funny that happened on their session. They put that as their cover photo. A lot more of their friends go to their page than they're going to come to my page. So automatically when they go there, they see these 3 beautiful images. They're probably already jealous anyhow, because look how fabulous she looks. Because like I say, I'm working with 16 and 19-year-old girls primarily. They see that, they see my logo, they see what we did, and they want one for their own. I literally have had people book sessions for me just for a free Facebook profile picture. It's crazy. That's why now I charge minimums. Before they see anything, I have to have a minimum, because that's all they wanted people to know, is that they came to me to get their pictures made. So I would think about doing those cover photos for your clients. And I do them for free because it's advertising. Any other questions? Yes.
You said that you don't put anything online until after they've been.
I will do like a sneak peek or a cover photo. I will do that just because it's going to book me more sessions. Like I say, as soon as that goes on Facebook, I will book 3 or 4 more sessions that day. It's no lie. We'll book constantly and continually from Facebook. I've never spent money on advertising dollars. It's all word of mouth. It's all web-based. So I will give them that. But before they see any proofs, before they see their collection of 60 images, they have to meet my minimum. And if I shoot you for 1 hour, then that's a $600 minimum they have to pay. How many of you guys are struggling with pricing or contracts or just things like that in general that your clients need to know? You can go to my blog. If it's amanda-reed.com, hit the blog link, select rates and packages. There I have my complete senior handbook. I also have a portrait handbook, and I don't care one bit if you want to copy and paste that over for your clients. I don't care. We're not in the same market, and if we were, big deal. If you're charging $25, I don't want your client anyhow. There's so many photographers that don't want to share that, but you need to be protected on those ends. You need to find out how professional charges and how they're making that, because if you're not wanting to make $200,000 a year, why are you doing this? Why are people doing this if they don't want to be successful? Amanda, and it's a dash, Reed, REED.com. And just hit the link for the blog. It's all right there. I have one for high school seniors, and I have one for portraits. And there's also a great little company. It's called KML Creatives. You can look at that on Facebook, and they'll do complete marketing for about $300 to $600. They did all of my marketing, high school, senior, and portrait marketing.
How many stoplights are in your town?
I have 1 stoplight in my town. 1 stoplight. You can take the 3-minute Gilligan tour.